and we're back. This is KZSC Santa Cruz, Gamers on Game. I have the great pleasure of speaking with Josh McCoy. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, everyone. Pleasure to be here.
Can you bring that little guy right there?
Sure.
You go. Josh McCoy is... where we're here to talk about one of the games that he's been working on. In fact, from what I hear, you are pretty much been the lead programmer, the lead guy.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of putting together the Prom Week team to work on this cool interactive drama featuring high school students and their social machinations. Pretty fun.
It is really cool. Josh McCoy is pursuing a PhD in computer science at the Expressive Intelligence Studio here at UCSC. He's researching new ways to create and improve the state of the art of video games, interactive experiences, and their design through the application of existing and the creation of novel artificial intelligence systems. I wanted to just talk for a second before we get into Prom Week, which we've got a lot to talk about with that, because you have been your game is in the Independent Games Festival.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. Putting your game up against 600 of the coolest indie games out there, and someone seeing the shining potential in it it's really an honor. It's a really good time.
I've had the pleasure of being able to see Prom Week as it evolved over the last year when you had it demoed at the Future of Video Games conference that UCSC that they did last spring, which was a really, really great conference. It had some major players and speakers in the video game industry, and that's where you were showing it off. Yeah, that was, I guess, our year-end demo. The project's been going on for just a little over 2 years now, which isn't a whole lot when you have to develop a new AI system from scratch and gameplay on top of that's fun and compelling. So you got to see a demo where everything was, about half done. Okay, so let me see, Josh, what is artificial intelligence?
Ooh, that is sort of the question of the field, too, the actual definition of artificial intelligence. So basically what people associate AI with are, things like Skynet and the Terminator, machines thinking for themselves and becoming self-aware to destroy humanity. We are much more benign than that. We want to make smart, computer-driven systems that help us do things that we need to do, or can think on their own about problems. So how we use artificial intelligence is to improve the state of sort of interactive dramas. Those old text adventures you have, we'd like to make those more reactive and fun. If you've played Michael Mateus's Facade, that was all full of great AI that helped, the video games interactive drama. Things from, language instruction down to video games. That's sort of what the Expressive Intelligence does with the artificial intelligence part of it. Okay,
so the Expressive Intelligence Studio, which you are a part of, and are you graduating this?
Yeah, I'm writing my dissertation right now. I'm sending out job applications left and right. This has really been a good time for Prom Week to get in the IGF and have a little exposure.
It's a great way to end your PhD career, right?
Yeah, if someone would...
Without you'll get the diploma. That would be the the creme de la creme.
Exactly. Coming into graduate school, who would have thought that I was going to make a cool video game at the end? I had no idea.
It is really interesting, Josh McCoy, and you come from a sociology perspective. How? What?
Yeah.
What?
I, like many people in their undergraduate education, wandered around from discipline to discipline for a little while. First, I went in and was like, maybe I like music education because I played the saxophone for a long time. And then, I went to Earlham College in Indiana, Quaker school. Feels very much like Santa Cruz there. And
does it really? What?
Yeah, it's in the middle of this, red state, in the middle of a very conservative area where the Tea Party reigns supreme. And there's this little enclave of about 1,200 students that keep the liberalness, the Quaker, the war is not the answer, FCNL alive.
Yeah. The Quakers are the coolest people. Coming from Indiana myself, they are. That's why
fellow Hoosier. Yeah.
I was like, Josh, you're describing something that I didn't find very much other than Bloomington.
It's rare.
Was like,
yeah, totally.
Anything past Chicago was.
Yeah.
So that's where you got your undergraduate?
Yeah, I got really hooked onto sociology there. I went and double majored in computer science and sociology, anthropology. Got into Goffman and classical social thought. And then sort of as a side, completely unrelated note, I got really into simulation, high-performance computing, parallel computation. Some of you may have heard of folding at home. We did like the Beowulf cluster version, folding at clusters. And then I did sort of scientific computation meets education for a couple years after I graduated undergrad. And then I decided grad school is where I wanted to go.
And you looked around and you found the Games and Playable Media Center.
Oh, it's a little more rich than that. I looked around and I was a graphics game guy, but the year I came here to grad school was the year Michael Mateus joined, so the Expressive Intelligence Studio didn't exist yet. I came here because it was a place where a lot of cool stuff was going on, and I really liked the place and the culture and the vibe.
So that was 2008?
That was 2007?
Was it
2006? I've been here 6 years, so yeah, 2006, yeah.
Yeah. I remember when Michael Mateus came and talked to the Digital Arts and New Media and showed his game Facade, which has a pretty powerful artificial intelligence back.
Absolutely.
They had to really do a lot of work to create that game. Shall we give it a quick few minutes and explain what Facade was and how that, I think, has influenced greatly a lot of independent games?
Yeah, sure. Facade was an interactive drama where you, as a character in the world, are being invited to your college friends you are now graduated from college or an adult. Your friends invite you over. You haven't seen them in a few years. Their name is Trip and Grace. So they invite you over for a dinner party, just you and them. Little did you know their relationship is going to break up while you're there, possibly, depending on how you interact. Things are, you step right into a drama bomb.
Right. Which doesn't seem like very much fun. And but it's really interesting to kind of go through this exercise. And it was all you typed in your text, and then the computer would run it through some algorithms and then figure out, okay, what would be the best result to what you have input. So for instance, if I input G-Trip, you're looking pretty hot tonight. Grace may say, you need to leave the apartment now.
Yeah, exactly.
You could get kicked out. In fact, I know a lot of people that got kicked out. Like, how fast can I get kicked out of here?
Yeah. There's a wide range of how people play that game that I've seen.
Yeah. And so how does then Facade help create the Expressive Intelligence Studio? Is that kind of...
Yeah, so making these sort of like academic AI systems that are like playable artifacts, that's a really rare thing, especially some that are fun and interesting to play. The pressures of getting funding, being a graduate student, making a system, and writing papers, doing all the academic things sort of gets in the way of making a playable artifact. And so you have to be really dedicated to make that happen. And Michael's Facade was one of the first cases of that really, really hitting big. He decided to make a full production game with it, and it was novel in many different ways, including like the socialness that characters react to you with, the open typing you could do that is understood by the system.
Right.
All these were major like advances that you don't see in AAA console games. They're just not there.
No.
So it was a polished, well done thing that people could download for free and play, and that really I think that made some big waves. That's the type of thing that will make your reputation.
Right. So Michael Mateus came. Jim Whitehead was already in forming the center. I had Jim on. He was the first Gamers on Game guest back in June this past 2011. And so Jim explains how he was looking around at other engineering schools, computer science schools, and the ones that were in expansion as opposed to contraction were the ones that had some strong game development possibilities. And so from that, he decided that if we wanted to keep Santa Cruz as one of the top research universities in computer science and engineering, then maybe a center for games and playable media would be something that augmented that. Then Michael Mateus comes in. He's got Facade. Then we get Noah Wardrop Fruin coming in with his narrative, and he's coming from a writing, a literary background, and also media critical theory. And then luckily for us, last spring, we got Jane Pinkard, who is a great collaborator and very, she's had her pulse on indie games for almost a decade now.
Absolutely.
And so this really helped round out and is creating this amazing center, when you say?
Yeah, and then you throw in Arnav Jala.
Oh, right.
And Marilyn Walker.
Yeah. There's quite a few more in there. All the
That's
other
the complete
professors.
set right there now. So
Right. And then
lots of good people.
You see now UCSC is considered one of the premier game development PhD programs in the world.
Yeah, it's one of the only PhD programs that does actual research in video games. It's a really good place to be, I believe. I think we've really jumped into a nice, powerful position in the market. I mean, we get to make cool and fun, interesting things for people to play with.
And I think it's one of the few PhD programs in the United States also. I know there's a few in Europe. It's probably growing since the last time I looked.
Right.
So Josh McCoy, you're about to, you're looking at graduating.
Yes,
you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. How many of you will be graduating this?
Oh, wow. So we were the first people in the lab. So there was a lot of us.
So you're the
so
first
it's like
cohort
7 or so. Yeah, the first cohort out of
to graduate from this program.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's a bustling field right now too. Everyone's realizing they need a games program, just like they realized they need a films program, decades ago. So it's a very exciting time to be in academic games.
So you're the guinea pigs, huh?
We are the guinea pigs.
And you look pretty good for being a guinea pig. It seems to have not been bad.
Yeah. Rodents are fun. It was a great time.
All right. So you're the lead developer for Prom Week.
I am the lead technical developer. I got the ball rolling, but we had a pretty egalitarian development process with Mike Traynor, Aaron Reed, and Ben Samuel.
So there's 4 of you.
Yeah.
And the game features your AI system that you developed.
That's my dissertation topic. It's comme il faut, or SIF for short. That takes care of all the social considerations of Prom Week.
And so what Prom Week does is it enables playable social interactions. And I also think that it helps educate. If you're maybe somebody who's not as socially, savvy. I know I wasn't very socially savvy in high school. If anything, I was a social retard. I can't believe I said that. I was challenged socially. I think maybe Prom Week would have been something really interesting for me to play because I would have gotten into some of the logic.
Yeah.
Those that are socially savvy understand who the players are and how to maybe influence the players that will help them. Okay, so let's give the audience Prom Week kind of, what is it?
Okay, so Prom Week is the story of these 18 characters in the week leading up to their high school prom. You play a character through a story. The goals of the story are focused on the character. So like, let's say the character is Zach. His goal is to become the prom king or to have a cool date for the prom. And you have all the other characters around doing all their normal, reacting normally how they would react socially. So if Zach is the geek and he's not in the popular group, you have to do some real work, like getting Zach some friends and then, getting him a cool date to get him ingratiated with the popular kids. So it's this whole bit of thinking about the entire social world that's going on in front of you and how to maneuver Zach in it to get him to fit these goals.
Right. So we all have these cliques in high school and we understand how they interact with each other. And so each one of these characters is kind of within one of those cliques. And
So we have a few, we have some goths, we have some emos, we try to get at somewhat of a round approach. We only have so much manpower to get this done. But we covered the space, from bully to geek, I think.
Nice, and all of the nice people in between. And so Zach now needs to do some strategizing to figure out how he could get to the popular girl who would say yes. And so he has to do various maneuvers, and he gets points if they work.
So what happens is you get points for just doing social interactions that the system lets you do. And you can spend those points to sort of like break the system a little bit. You can make someone who would like reject your romantic advances. You could make them accept it instead by spending a little bit of the social influence points that we give you, and that's sort of a way to break the system. We almost did too good of a job of having the characters adhere to social norms, and sometimes if you're like unpopular, it can be hard to become popular because it's hard to become popular.
It is hard. It's terrible. It's really
and so we have this authored fictional world, which we took from fictional sources. So things like Mean Girls, Saved by the Bell, Twilight. We took like these highly dramatic situations and encoded the rules. So as you mentioned before about people playing the games to learn social interactions, they would learn this fictional rule set that we built in. That's how the characters respond. So it's not exactly real to life social interactions. You have to take it with a grain of salt of the fictional drama knob turned up to 11 style that you'll get, and funny little high school jokes. They're like 18-year-olds with a very serious like 14-year-old streak in them. That's sort of like the humor level we were kind of going for, very like over the top and dramatic. But if you get past that, if you like and enjoy that theme and play it through, you get these cool stories that you build yourself based on the interactions you make the characters do, going all the way through to fulfill the characters' prom ambitions, and you really build your own story.
Oh, Josh, that sounds so great. Josh McCoy, do you see? I see your sociology background being very useful.
Yeah, I've been very happy to be able to incorporate both sociology and computer science into a project that I enjoy. It's been heavily influenced by Erving Goffman's dramaturgical analysis and semiotic notions of self. The heavy parts of the system are the rules and the social pressures that are sort of the outside forces on the characters, and how in the character's current situation within those rules and their history and backstory are really what is the driving force, not like the psychological unit self-making interactions. It's really, if you know the sociology, very semiotic form of self that we embed in these characters. So it's the social norms helping you make the decisions much more than the characters' own personalities driving them forward.
Right. So just give us a little bit about the semiotics of the self.
Okay, it's really about much less of a core self. So think of like your history and your current relationships as sort of it's just like cracked mud. So they're the dried, raised bits of the mud. Your personality and sort of like the current situation is the mud that flows up, and what you are at any given time is that temporary tableau of like flowing mud through the cracks of the old dried mud. So it's really this very fluid sense of self that adapts to the situation, who's around you, what you've done in the past. And you can see it all the time. People act very differently in their dorm room than they do, when being in a radio interview.
That's funny, Josh. So I totally agree with you. How one identifies oneself really depends on context, history. Even somebody what might not be that important to him in the morning might become very important to him in the evening when he's in an argument and trying to, suddenly I'm the big Serbian, although yesterday I was a Balkan. Right?
Yeah.
It's all about interactions and how you move with that. Okay, so we got the Independent Games Festival that's coming up March 5th through 9th in San Francisco. And if anybody's interested, you can go to igf.com and you can see how to sign up for it. And it's the 14th annual IGF. And Prom Week is featured as one of the games that is in this contest.
Yeah, a bunch of about 500 or 600 games this year were submitted, and there were several categories, of which there were around 5 picked as finalists for each category. We were lucky enough to be nominated for the technical excellence category, which we're really excited about. Personally, I'm excited about, since it's my dream AI system in there, and they saw the technical excellence in there. I'm just over the moon, right?
Yeah.
So what is going to happen is right now they've done the final judging. We don't know the answers yet. We will find out at GDC. I think it's the Wednesday, the the 6th to the 7th. That evening, there's an award ceremony, and they will announce the winners of these categories.
And so how can we help you?
Well, there is another category that any of the games can be voted for. It's the Audience Choice Award, the Audience Choice category. And so we have a playable version of Prom Week at promweekgame.com that you can play. And then if you enjoy it, we would very much appreciate your vote for the Audience Choice Awards, the IGF Audience Choice Award. And that is at igf.com, I think, /audience.php, I believe is the URL. If not, promweekgame.com can link you there. Obviously, we want you to vote for the game if you like it. But, don't play the games. That's important.
Yeah. You can also find it at artistonart.com or gamersongame.com. And both of those places will have both how to get to prom week and how to vote, because they need our help, folks. They need the audience.
We would really appreciate it. We put a lot of work into it, and we'd like you guys to enjoy it as well.
Yeah. Now, another thing that we can invite people to join us is this week we're going to be doing our e-games gathering at Netflix. And this is a monthly gathering of e-games, of electronic game lovers, developers, theorists. We've had a lot of different presentations ranging from the history of game development here in Santa Cruz
really cool.
to serious games. And this week, we were going to be featuring Prom Week, and you'll be presenting, right, Josh?
Yeah, I think Aaron Reed and I are going to give a talk on Prom Week and actually let you guys play it. Give some demos, maybe pop up how we design the social interactions, how the authoring goes. We'll just see what people are interested in. We'll have a bit prepared, of course, but we're looking forward to sharing it with you.
And that doors open at Next Space, at 6:30. The presentation is at 7, and then after we get to play with Prom, we'll all walk over to the Red, and because we'll all be so thirsty, we'll need to drink a little. If people wanted to find out more about Prom Week, again, they can go to promweekgame.com. If you want to see where Josh has been pursuing his PhD, you can go to games.soe.ucsc.edu. And if you go /MCCOYJO, you can see exactly what Josh McCoy has been working on during his 6 years here.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good quickie PhD to turn around, and I applaud you and congratulate you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Although you still are working on your thesis.
Yeah. It should be done at the end of the year. Fingers crossed.
Oh, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And wait, I mean
the end of the school year.
The school year.
Yeah,
right.
June.
June. So you'll be graduating again here at UCSC in the computer science department, Games and Playable Media. Thanks a lot, Josh, for coming on.
Thank you, everyone.
It's been really great. I really enjoyed talking with my trainer about Prom Week and watching it evolve, like I said before. And I had Aaron Reed on last year when he was talking about augmented reality. And so hopefully I'll get him back on and we'll get to see how that's going. And let me see if I can find... nothing is showing up here. Here we go. Have a great day, everybody. Please stay tuned for Unfiltered Camels. And thanks again, James McCoy.
You're welcome.
And you get to... Josh McCoy. You get to see Josh in his full glory at Gamers on Game or Artist on Art. I'll have the video of our interview up very soon. Next couple of days, hopefully before Egg. If you have more information, if you want more information, go to Egg Facebook page. Thanks.